Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank the honourable member for this question. And Madam Speaker, to answer the question, obviously we need to contextualise what's actually happened in FNPF. Madam Speaker, as you know, that there are various reforms that have taken place in the FNPF, first under the Benny Marama government and of course under the Fiji First government. The success of these reforms have been validated independently by the IMF in collaboration with the Financial Sector Assessment Program and the regulator, which is the RBF. Consequently, FNPF also, Madam Speaker, has received international recognition by International Social Security Association, or ISSA, for 3 Good Practice Awards: Reforming the Pension Scheme, Financial Literacy and Information Technology, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also 2 independent actuarial evaluations have now confirmed that there is surplus in the Retirement Income Fund. Part of the restructure of the pension fund, Madam Speaker, was to review the performance of the RIF, in other words, Retirement Income Fund, after 5 years and to consider further distribution. At this stage, Madam Speaker, the fund's actuary is considering a formula for distribution of any surpluses, including the necessary legal provisions and approvals required, so over and above what is legally required. Madam Speaker, the 2017 annual report table on Monday of FNPF continues to confirm that the fund is now in a much stronger financial position as a result of the reforms instituted by government. Let me highlight some of the key achievements, Madam Speaker, for 2017. The net profit increased to $359 million from $331 million in 2016, attributable to better investment returns. For this profit, Madam Speaker, $270 million was credited to the members' accounts in 2017, equivalent to 6.3% in interest paid. The fund has credited over $1 billion to its members in the last 5 years. Record contribution of $546 million from $480 million in 2016 is a result of better compliance through automation. Total assets of the fund now stands at $5.7 billion, which is more than sufficient to cover its liabilities of $4.8 billion. Net assets, Madam Speaker, is now $836 million. After applying the solvency requirement of 10%, there is still a surplus of $276 million, Madam Speaker. This is a major achievement and improvement from the negative $337 million in 2010 prior to the reform. So in 2010, prior to that, we had $337 million in the negative. The fund also completed all, of course, its major investments as far as the various hotel property developments are concerned, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, today FNPF is in a much stronger position and sound financial footing, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just to let you know, as we mentioned in this House before, continuously independent assessments prior to the reforms had indicated that the way that the FNPF is continuing its operations and indeed the payment of pensions, where there is a disequilibrium in respect of the percentages paid to various pensioners, some people are getting as high as 25% rate of return. So within 4 years they would have been getting 100%. Some are getting 19%, some are getting 17%. And what the Mercer report then said, Madam Speaker, that FNPF's funds would have all finished by 2056. So in other words, the young people of Fiji today who are contributing to FNPF, by the time they would have retired in 2056, there would have been absolutely no funds left in FNPF. So all the contributions, Madam Speaker, would have actually gone into the high payment of those who are already receiving pension or would have just retired or would have retired prior to that, Madam Speaker. What this means, Madam Speaker, the funds would have not been able to meet its obligations and promise its members and pay FNPF members when they retire. This would have been, of course, a financial disaster for Fiji because FNPF, Madam Speaker, as we all know, holds the largest cash reserves in Fiji. Madam Speaker, in 2009, $327 million worth of investments were impaired by the fund. What it means, Madam Speaker, is that the actual value of the investment assets were overstated in FNPF's books. That was the situation in FNPF. There were overstated accounts, there were understating of expenses, and as a result of which, some people continued to benefit grossly at the expense of the ordinary FNPF members. Madam Speaker, of course, there were lots of other shenanigans that went on with the former directors, the executives, etc. And I've got a whole list of things which I don't want to read out here because we've already been through that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as part of the reforms, all pensioners who were receiving below $100 per month were moved to $100 per month. Prior to the reforms, Madam Speaker, the honourable members in the opposition need to know this, some members were only receiving $7 per month. Because as you know, some people were lowly paid. And therefore, at the end of them retiring and getting their pension fund, they were getting as low as $7 a month. Under these reforms, Madam Speaker, all those people who in fact were supposed to be technically receiving less than $7 or less than $100 are now getting paid at least $100 a month, notwithstanding the very small contribution they made to the fund. So, Madam Speaker, as we've said in this House, if all of us, for example, individually try and save our money, it may not be much. But if we all pool our money together, then we can buy assets, build assets. And from that return needs to be shared equally, Madam Speaker. And this is what we're trying to achieve as far as the FNPF is concerned. Madam Speaker, these reforms have been made to protect the long-term sustainability of the fund and to ensure that FNPF remains relevant to its 417,000 members into the future and protect the important role that FNPF plays as a social and economic anchor for Fiji, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, the reality is that there were some members, yes, that did receive a reduction. And there are only, from what we are told, about 1,800 of those pensioners that had a reduction. But everybody else, Madam Speaker, is in the same position, or if not better off. But more importantly, are those people whose voices are generally not heard. These are the people who have lowly paid wages, who worked as carpenters, joiners in those days, Madam Speaker, who worked maybe as assistant, cook hands, etc., who paid low wages. And now when they've retired in the past 20 years or so, past 10 years or so, past 7 years ago, before the reforms they received about $7 a month. Today they at least receive $100 a month. And that's what the reform does actually, Madam Speaker, fix up. And Madam Speaker, the other point of course is that we now have sustainability of the funds, and FNPF will have enough funds now to go beyond 2056. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.